So today, the 22nd of March here, 2022, and Don Young, like we did the video the other day, and I started talking about all of the issues and everything like that. What is going to happen with the House of Representatives, and like considering running myself, like I said before he died, I was considering running myself, but then like looking at everyone else who's there, Nick Begich, he's from Florida. Someone pointed out to me last night he went to high school in Florida, but then he actually has a residence in Florida. His wife is voting Democrat and is registered to vote as a Democrat in Florida. And that's both of them went to the same high school in Florida. He was a high school cross country runner. Do all the people who are supporting him in Alaska know that he's basically like a Florida resident? He's got this international company. They're doing stuff with apps. They have bases out of our country. So not only is he sending work and creating jobs out of the state of Alaska, I don't know. Has he created any jobs in Alaska, or is that just like a holding space thing in Chugiak there? You know what I mean? Valid questions to ask, I think. Because if you're talking about what you've done and you've sat on some boards in Alaska, that's great. But it looks like the head of his far north thing is in Chicago. He's got a residence in Florida, and they're sending jobs overseas. So is that what we want for a leader in Alaska? I'd like to hear more from him about what he thinks about like big tech, censorship, and all that stuff. Nicholas actually is his name, I guess. So, and never met him, and not trying to be like rude or anything, but this is something that like I really care about these issues. You know what I mean? Like, and I have an intent to, even if I didn't make it into office or never even ran, I'm still, I'm 100% a leader for Alaska and a leader for America, and I'm not gonna, shy away from like how I feel about things. And like the House of Representatives, I said it even when Don was alive. Don, I don't think has a residence in Fort Yukon. You know what I mean? So the bar's set pretty low and that kind of thing. And you know also just like the other candidates, sort of I was talking about like Al Gross and like Kelly Chibika and Rep Zach Fields. There's so many people who are just like, they're so fake. Or like Chris Constance, anyone in Anchorage, I'm just gonna say it, anyone in Anchorage, Alaska is fake. That city is fake. That city is not part of Alaska, and not part of the Alaska that I know and love and that shaped me and best times that I had. That's for sure. But these people just need to realize that they don't have the leadership capability to do this. You know what I mean? I'm just going to say it. Like, I mean, hey, I'm your competition. Even if I don't run, I'm the leader in this place. I'm going to take ownership on this situation. And I'm going to say that you guys don't have what it takes. I'm looking right at the camera. You don't have what it takes. You got a Florida residence. You guys you're upper class. You're removed from these people. You might be able to appeal to the people clapping in the fundraising ballroom, but in the CEOs who are, or the slumlords, who are taking advantage of the poor people all over the state. But I don't think you're ever going to be the voice and stand up for the working class and just the poor people, in the state of Alaska. And I'm not. I don't think I'm not going to just keep rattling on this video. It's 3 minutes long already, and I just covered the issue with Nick Begich in his Florida residence and trying to ask what the deal is with his wife. She's registered to vote in Florida. Why they have a Florida residence if they're Alaskan, and then the deal is Al Gross. I don't think Al Gross or Sarah Palin need to butt in at this point. You know what I mean? They've lost before. They've left before. This isn't what we want. We have the young people in Alaska and in America. We have a real future we care about. We don't want these people who are just doing this for their egos. I don't think Al Gross needs to do this. You know what I mean? If he's a fisherman, he can fish. If he's a doctor, he can go be a doctor. He's not the right person for this time and place in history. And he's got $200,000 left over. He should probably, start a nonprofit or do something else, or donate it to good causes or something like that. He doesn't need to waste it on campaign signs. He's gonna lose, right? Okay, Al Gross, I think you're gonna lose if you do that. I think if Chris Constance is the Democratic Party's, that's not gonna work. He's not gonna win. You know what I mean? I don't need to even go with that direction with a conversation. I don't think he's worth my words and time. And I think Nicholas Begich, he's from a family of career politicians, and the entire thing is fake. I listened to his thing back when he was running for the assembly in Anchorage in 2016, and he seems like a bright guy and a smart guy. That's why I'm trying to challenge him right here and be like, I'd like to hear what you have to say about big tech and censorship, since you're coming from an app building company, allegedly, in a perspective. What do you think about that and big tech and regulation? Because all of this stuff that's gone on with like Trump getting pushed off social media, but also just with the COVID narrative and how freedom of speech ties back to our founding fathers and the values our country was built upon in the U.S. Constitution. And those are the things that we need to fight for. I would like to see more. Anyone who wants to run, I'll sit here and talk candidly about how I feel about the issues and about current events. If these people want to actually be a leader for Alaska and run for Alaska, I don't want these fake campaign signs and these fake, they should be able to look at a camera and talk candidly, fluently, and passionately about how they feel about these issues and what they would be doing. You know what I mean? So I don't really see that from any of these candidates. I feel like they're all fake and they're all hiding things, which is not good. I would rather more transparency from someone who wants to hold office is a good thing, and that's why, like, in this day and age, we have this social media, and like, I'm not afraid, in terms of like looking at the camera and saying how I feel about this stuff. And even if I didn't run, the only reason I was considering running is because I do have passion about these different issues, and I do feel that we need a leader who is passionate, but is also like, has that degree of common sense. And I'm applying my degree of common sense when I'm looking at these other candidates for the House of Representatives and saying, well, you know what? There's a problem if Nicholas Begich has a residence in Florida and he went to high school in Florida. His wife is actually still registered to vote as a Democrat in Florida. Now, if she's a Democrat, that's not really the issue. To some people in the Republican Party in Alaska, that might be an issue, but to me, the bigger issue is the fact that the residents in Florida, they have a house there. So, are they even in Alaska much? You have to be residents of the state. It doesn't even if you're going to be running for that state, and like Al Gross, he's got a huge house in Santa Barbara too. I mean, these are elites. These are elites who are just throwing their money around. But instead of throwing their money around, when I had no money, and I still rolled up my sleeves and tried to make a better Alaska back in the day. I did my trip down the Yukon River and all that stuff. I was in my early 20s. I was attempting to be innovative. I was attempting to try to push for solutions for impoverished communities and do my very best. And I was just a kid with nothing, using my own money to try to do that. Whereas we have these native corporations with CEOs with $5 million salaries, you know what I mean? So, they can't be inspired and encouraged to roll up their sleeves and try to do something. So I'm not going to shy away from the challenge in any shape or form. And, if Nicholas Begich wants to come on here, explain his Florida residence, and, if Chris Constance just wants to admit he doesn't have what it takes, I think that's good too. And also the other issue is, Al Gross and Sarah Palin, they don't need to embarrass themselves by wasting money on campaign signs. If they cared about this state, they would have spent that money to try to fix the problems in the state, or they would have tried to spend that money to try to fix the problems in America. And they would have had videos. They would have had innovative ideas and creative ideas. They would have been trying to push for solutions for communities or for organizations in any shape or form. They haven't done any of that. They are not going to be the ones who lead. They're not going to be the ones who bring solutions in any shape or form to Alaska or to any facet of Alaska, any organization in Alaska. I'm talking about Al Gross and Sarah Palin. And these are people, or Nicholas Begich. Nicholas Begich might have the potential, I thought, listening to his 2016 assembly video, but he didn't win there, and I just hesitate to and I feel like, again, it's another Murkowski. They're just too much money and too far removed from the majority of Alaska, the experience of being an Alaskan here. You know what I mean? He's like, just listening to him talk about Anchorage and the different issues there. It's like someone just repeating the sound bites that he's heard from other cities or from other people, sort of almost like a Forrest Dunbar. Even though Nicholas Begich is a little older, I just mean of having been in the situation and actually having like a vision to try to fix things. And then time and time again, we see that with these politicians that if they're not career politicians, they're basically from a career politician family and they're repeating career politician sound bites. So, I'm not a career politician. I'm not someone who really cares even if I run for this race. I'm a bricks and mortar, shit on my shoe, dirt under my fingernail leader for Alaska and a leader for America. You know what I'm talking about? So it's not about political races. At some point, we have this social media. You can win the House of Representatives office. That doesn't make you a leader for Alaska. You can run for the House of Representatives office. That doesn't make you a leader for Alaska or a leader for America. That just makes you someone who wants to hold a position that's probably a fake position, and pushing paper around, So I don't hesitate to rise to the challenge. I don't hesitate to call out any of the candidates that I've heard. I've heard Nat Herz, who's from Maine, which is where I'm from, and I'm also from Maine originally. Talking on online about how there's been talk. Anchorage Daily News, he's one of those many reporters who plays musical chairs in Anchorage and probably has never even seen the state of Alaska. Okay, so except for like a long weekend trip. So I'm not really sure I want to hear him. And he just came back from China, so I'm not really sure I want to hear this globe-trotting reporter from Anchorage tell me what this House race is going to be like. And who's going to run for it? Because he says, well, he's talking about Al Gross, and he says, well, we've heard a lot of talk, and he doesn't name anyone's name about a Native Alaskan woman who people want a Native Alaskan woman to run. I heard no one say that anywhere. I heard a couple people say they talk about wanting a Native to run, and I already challenged that statement. I said, well, it shouldn't be just filling the position with someone of a certain race. You should want to make sure you actually have someone who's like passionate about the issues, who's already like in the leader, who has the leadership traits and wants to lead, and wants to actually fix things for Alaska. And so I was just saying, sort of like what's going on with the Supreme Court. Is this just a black lady because it's a black lady? Is this just going to be someone pushing for a Native because it's a Native? I want people who can be like, transparent like I am and talk, and not just have like, oh, this is how I feel about abortion. Have like a little sign on their website or like Al Gross with his stupid little rhyming song. I mean, these people really embarrass us. As a person who's not the extreme young generation, but younger than most of those people, I really feel like that they sort of embarrass us because, like, I know enough people in my own age group, I'm in my 30s, but, and also in the younger age group in the 20s who are very articulate about issues. You know what I mean? Very fluent about issues and not approaching this like a second grader with a nursery rhyme like Al Gross did. You know what I mean? Or not approaching this, like Sarah Palin did. Sarah Palin already sold her Twitter account, okay? She sold her Twitter account. She sold her name to the National Republican Party. You know what I mean? She's not the right one at this point for the House of Representatives. These people don't need to distract from the passion and the fire of the younger generation and the potential of the younger generation actually to deliver solutions and actually to, make America live up to its potential, and restore the constitutional values and the freedoms that our nation was built upon for ourselves, but also for the younger generation. Because these people, it's going to be sound bites. It's going to be fake nursery rhyme campaign things. It's going to be Chris Constant wearing a rainbow sweater. You know what I mean? Or like Nat Hurst from the Anchorage Daily News fabricating something saying there's been a lot of talk of having a Native Alaskan woman. Quote, who said it, Nat? Put it in your article, bud. Who said it? Now, who said that there's a lot of talk? Okay, so if you can't substantiate your claim, is Nat Hurst, as a reporter for the Anchorage Daily News, that should not be in the news because there's no evidence to go along with that. Now, I'm looking for the evidence for like Nicholas Begich, who has already tons of momentum, to show us that he's actually not in Florida because it says Florida on the thing. Now, if he's traveling, but if he has a permanent residence in Florida, which it looks like they do, his wife, if it's still his wife and they're not divorced, is registered to vote Democrat, but regardless, registered to vote in Florida and they have a permanent residence there, chances are